Good morning, class. We are now on our week number 12, Understanding the Self in the Digital and Virtual Perspective. So let us now continue the Understanding the Self on digital and virtual world. So what once sounded like exaggeration. So the world is at the tip of our fingertips. Now we can easily click, we can easily share, and now has become our everyday reality. Yung digital, no? Due to the digital evolution and widespread internet access. So I remember during our time, ang pinakamabilis na internet access namin ay 1 Mbps. So that was in 2010. Pero ngayon we have now 500 Mbps. No, yung iba sa inyo merong 400 Mbps. So napakadali ngayong i-access no yung mga informations. We can easily also connect with other people, not just only in the Philippines but also around the world. So digital life is now our daily life, no? From online food delivery, during pandemic, na-establish itong mga online food delivery. Dati mga McDonald's, uh, ang pinaka-popular no sa amin, sa family namin, yung Shakey's and Pizza Hut. Pero ngayon may Food Panda, may Grab. So those are the reality now na napakadali ngayong mag-message, no, immediate access to global information. Dati papanoorin lang natin sa TV, it could be 5 hours delay, pero ngayon on time or real time. The digital platforms now mediate no nearly all human activities yung ating mga ginagamit na mga platforms. So we have what they call the social media as identity platforms. So yung platforms like Facebook, Instagram, meron ba kayong Instagram? TikTok, marahil no, meron kayo. YouTube, allow individuals to construct, share and curate versions of their digital selves. 'Di ba? Sabi nga nila, we can easily now filter no or edit yung ating mga mukha, no, merong ng mga AI, meron ng mga during our time ang gamit namin Adobe Photoshop. Pero ngayon merong CapCut no na may mga AI na. And the complexity of online identity. So choosing a profile picture no na I remember during the yung nauna sa Facebook no, Friendster no, yung profile picture ay pwede mo siyang gandahan no, yung theme. So we can easily do that now in our Facebook username and all, and post all contribute to how one is perceived online. So making digital identity a consciousness and strategic construct of ourselves ngayon. No, hindi na tayo nahiya dati nahiya kami about kung tagiyawat ka about sa picture, pero ngayon you can easily edit na yung mukha mo sa Facebook is far different from your personal or real. And we have what they call the cyberspace as our new community. Now one can gain audiences. So we can easily create our group chats. We can join na base sa interested-based communities. Dati, ang group chat ay ang gamit namin noon Yahoo Messenger, no? Tagal na noon. So meron doon na mga group chat na pwede mong salihan based on your interested communities or interest communities. And because of joining interest-based communities, ay talagang we can easily communicate, no, sa mga communities na ito and be socially active in digital spaces without physical interaction. So understanding our online identity. So the digital self and its layers. So what is online identity? When we say online identity, it is the sum of person's digital expression. So ano itong mga ito? Like yung ating mga profile picture, our username, our tone of interaction, the content we shared, and reputation across digital platforms. So this is the online identity. And we have what they call the self-presentation, how we present yung ating sarili. And that's why we use strategies. Now, users manage how they appear online. So we can easily share, no? But we are selective. So, through selective sharing. Emotional tone, masaya ba yan, malungkot ba yan, at yung ating mga self-presentation strategy on our self about visual aesthetics, shaping how, no, yung mga nakakita sa atin, how others perceive us based on our representation of ourselves. At gusto natin, when they perceive yung ating pagkatao, dapat wala silang masabing pangit, di ba? So that's why we find strategy on how can we be able to present ourselves. And we have what they call that digital behavior and reputation. What one post reacts to and comments on builds a lasting impression. So once you post, no, you react and comment, no, builds a lasting impression, and nakapag-create yun ng tinatawag nating digital reputation. Kaya tingnan nyo, no, yung mga sabihin na natin mga kumikita sa Facebook, no, they create content. Ano yung gusto nilang mangyari to impress so that they can create their own digital reputation. And often, influencing offline also yung perception. No, lalo na yung mga pwede nating magamit kahit either online and offline, we can easily use it. O na-influence tayo, for example, yung food, no, mukbang, yung recipe ng pagkain. And another is the influence of social platforms. So different platforms encourage different versions of the self. Like yung self mo, how you promote. 'Di ba yung Instagram talaga, yung mga magagandang mga pictures diyan inilalagay, no? Yung Instagram promotes aesthetics. Yung Twitter naman, yung Twitter uh, promotes or posters opinions. 'Di ba? Hindi naman kailangan merong picture. Yung TikTok naman, yan, yung pasayaw-sayaw. It highlights performance. So those are the influence of social platforms. And then we have what they call the construction, not coincidence. So online identity is consciously constructed, and there is no such thing as accident. Aksidente ko lang na share. No, walang ganon. Walang accidental share. So it is consciously constructed. Although meron tayong tinatawag na wrong scent, no? Wrong scent, di ba? Minsan nakakapag-send ka ng mga picture mo sa ibang tao. Yun lang, medyo delikado yun, no? Pero of course, ginawa mo yon. Hindi yun accident, kundi ikaw ang nag-construct ng mga yon. And every post, every filter, or interaction represents our deliberate choices. And of course, kung bakit natin ginagawa yon, meron tayong tinatawag na identity goals. Gusto natin sa ating mga Filipino, gusto natin when we share about for example, yung mga memes, no? Tayong mga Filipino talagang gusto natin, nakakatawa. Yung iba naman encouraging. So those are the what they call the identity, no? Our online identity is consciously constructed. Sinadya natin gawin yon, and we are conscious. Maliban na lang kung na-hack yung Facebook mo, no? Hindi talaga ikaw yon. Next, the projected digital persona. The reality, performance, perception in virtual spaces. So we have what they call the curated identities. Curated, no? Ibig sabihin, kinur mo yung, for example, yung mga weakness mo, no? Cure. So we have what they call the digital personas. So digital personas are carefully curated versions of the self. Di ba? Sometimes magpo-post tayo, maganda tayo, gwapo tayo, nandun tayo sa ibang lugar, sa ibang bansa. No? And itong curated persona or our online or we call the digital self, emphasizing yung ating mga pinili about our traits, our moments, and aesthetics to craft, no, yung tinatawag nating gustong mangyari or our preferred image. So pwede nating i-cure or curated version of the self. And then we have the what we call the projections versus reality. 'Di ba? Yung reality, for example, bibili ka ng McDonald's, ang ganda sa picture pero sa reality hindi naman. Masarap sa picture pero sa reality hindi naman, no? So kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na projections versus reality. So online versions of the self may highlight interests or traits not always visible in offline interactions. That's why itong mga online version and reality create or creates, no, gaps between perception, how they perceive us. No, maganda siguro ito in person, pero sa reality, mas maganda pala siya. So, 'di ba? So that is the projection versus reality now in the digital platforms. So we have also what they call the behavioral flexibility. Behavioral flexibility. So users may exhibit more confidence or openness online. Kung mahihayin ka, 'di ba? Mahihayin ka in person pero you can open or you can be open sa online kasi wala naman nakakita sa iyo or hindi ka naman kilala ng mga iba. So that's why nagkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na behavioral flexibility that will enabled by anonymity. It could be a troll account, di ba? Gusto mo, ayaw mong ma-identify ka, then you can create a troll account na hindi naman nila iisipin na ikaw yon. So, yun, pwede natin gawin yung anonymity. And of course, the psychological safety of digital distance. So, kapag nag-post ka about sa government, di ka naman kaagad papagalitan, sisigawan. So, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng tinatang ng behavioral flexibility. And then we have what they call the motivations behind curation. So, freedom, validation, creativity, and social pressure drive users to tailor their digital personas. Di ba? So, for example, uh, namamotivate tayo, no, yung pag-present sa ating sarili na lalo na may mga AI na that you can now use, just to check your grammar, ako naalala ko during my time, paano ko kaya malalaman kung tama yung grammar ko kasi maraming mga bashers. Baka sabihin nila college graduate ka, mali-mali yung grammar mo. So that's why now yung mga bagay na ito ay talagang nakakatulong sa atin, no? So of course we have freedom, to do or to post whatever we want, but we do not have the freedom kung ano yung mga consequence nun. It could be a bashers, na mga bashers na tutuliksain ka. And the digital persona or persona sa social tools. So meron ng mga avatars ngayon, tama, mga avatars that they will act as social instruments. Minsan yung mga avatar na yon, it will uh, parang catch, attention of others, and others will connect with others. And using the avatars, yung mga personas na yon, it can also build a digital reputation or tinatawag nating brand, lalo na yung mga vlogger, mga content creator, talaga dapat they will present yung kanilang mga accounts talagang catchy, makakatch yung attention ng mga tao. So wag niyong gayahin si Boy Tapang, to catch the attention of others, kumain siya ng tae. Huwag niyong gagawin yun. Pero millionaire naman siya. So imagine that, you are what kind of reputation is that, for the sake of money? Kahit it will risk your lives. Pati yung isa, kumain ng ulo ng baka, nilaga niya, kinain niya. So yun, na-atake. Patay. So yan yung mga bagay na kung saan hindi na nakakabuti. For the sake of content, for the sake of money, kasi may pera yan. Gagawin mo ang lahat kahit na buhay ang kapalit. Or buhay ng iba ang kapalit, pwede rin. And then we have what they call the multiplicity of the digital self. So navigating fragmented identities online. So one user pero merong maraming profiles. 'Di ba? You can use yung mga different platforms. That's why the people manage different personas sa LinkedIn, 'di ba? Sa mga professional. So kapag graduate mo na ng college, gusto mong magkatrabaho, and then you present yourself sa LinkedIn, pang professional ito. And then kapag ikaw naman ay magaling sa aesthetics, Of course, your platform that you are going to use, Instagram. Pero kapag mga like yung dancing, no, humor, yan, TikTok. And then we have what they call the context-dependent presentation. Digital identities shape based on the audience. Diba? Gusto natin talaga na for example, yung audience mo, gusto mo puro mga brainy, matatalino, gagawa ka ng content or you are going to present yourself talaga na pang matalino. So, platform, norms, and personal goals reflecting context-sensitive self-presentation. So, of course, most of the time, ang pag-present mo naman sa sarili mo ay base sometimes sa iyong nararamdaman, di ba? Sa konteksto. For example, flood control. Di ba? Kino-contextualize natin. Nauso ngayon yung mga buhaya, no? Dati yung buhaya, ano lang yan, alam natin, nasa mga swampy area ngayon. Yung mga buhaya, nakaupo na ngayon, no? Nasa Congress, Senate, na local government. And then we have what we call the fragmentation of identity. Online behavior often divides aspects of self into specialized roles, sometimes leading to disconnection or identity strain. Whether we like it or not, kapag nag-post tayo, we cannot please everybody. We cannot please everyone. There will be a time na i-unfriend ka ng friends mo sa Facebook. For example, your political beliefs, di ba? Ano ka ba? BBM ka ba? Or DDS? Or kakamping? So those are the political colors now, no? So kapag nag-post ka about against sa political belief ng friends mo, yun lang, no? Talagang they will unfriend you. So, maganda naman kung they unfriend you. At least, nakita mo, hindi naman talaga sila totoong kaibigan, no? Dahil lang sa kulay ng politika, no? Yun ang measurement ng pagkakaibigan, no? Dahil lang sa kulay ng politika, hindi mo na siya kaibigan. Of course, we have also the strategic self-management. So, users learn to tailor language. Of course, sa inyong time, Generation Z yung language ngayon. Siyempre, kapag kaming mga thunders ba o millennials, no, we are going to tailor our language to your language. And so that's strategic that others can use in self-management, no? Learn to tailor language, learn to tailor content behavior to each platform's culture, promoting adaptability and social intelligence. So, meron na tayong another kind of intelligence, no? Not just only the intellectual or the IQ. We have now what they call the social intelligence. So, yung social intelligence, ito yung hinahanap ng mga companies ngayon. Marunong makisalamuha o sa Filipino values, we call it marunong makipagkapwa-tao. And then we have what they call the integration challenges. Merging digital selves into coherent personal identity. Required critical reflection and awareness of potential contradictions. Next. The art of selective self-presentation. So, identity as a narrative. Online self-presentation, no, yung pag-present natin sa ating sarili online, is a form of storytelling. So users choose which moments, moods, and messages to share in crafting their what they call that digital persona. No, kapag nag-post ka o nag-share ka about corruption, ibig sabihin, yung online representation mo is you represent as what? Makabayan, no? Makabayan. Yung iba, wala namang pakialam. Basta makapag-post lang sila, they don't care, no? Pero tayo, of course, tayong mga responsible, no, online users na gumagawa tayo ng buhay natin online aside from yung offline nating buhay. Yung offline natin na buhay, ano yon? Maraming sikreto yon. Pero yung online natin, nilalahad natin. Minsan pati problema mo sa nanay mo, pinopost mo pa, no? So ibig sabihin, you are telling to the world na hindi kayo maayos ng nanay mo. Imagine that, no? Family problems sineshare sa social media platforms. And then we have what they call the filters and framing. So mahilig tayo sa mga captions, di ba? Ako gusto kong captions basta nag-post ako, gusto ko nakakatawa talaga eh. Hindi lang para patawanin yung mga tao. Gusto ko rin kasing matawa no, sa aking mga captions. So from captions, and then now merong hashtags, 'di ba? Hashtags. And then may mga editing tools. No, dati captions, hashtags, and then we have now the editing tools. AI, no? Mabilis. So that's why individuals frame their content. No, they edit, they frame their content to enhance appeal. Kasi dapat appealing to the people. To enhance, not just only appeal emotions. And also to enhance aesthetics. And then we have what they call the impression management. Impression management. Based on Goffman and Larry's theories, users engage in strategic behavior to influence how others perceive them online. So we can, di ba sabi kanina, flexible behavior. So kapag ba i-represent mo ang sarili mo so that you can get impression, no, yung good impression of course. Siyempre, you're going to strategize, no, so that other people, they will perceive you na, ito mabait ito, ito baka Diyos ito. Di ba? Ganon yung piniperceive ng mga tao sa atin. And then we have the curated authenticity. Kanina, curated. Ngayon merong curated authenticity. Digital authenticity is not raw, but managed. So, syempre, yung ating mga pictures, no? 'Di ba sa iPhone may raw and then may filter. Gusto natin maganda yung lights, no? Gusto natin na smooth yung ating skin, no? Pero of course, wag naman yung sobra, no? Sobrang sobrang puti mo naman. Pero in reality, maitim ka naman, no? So wag naman, dapat there must be parang na humanize, no? Humanize. Ibig sabihin kapag gumamit ka ng Chat GPT, sa yung mga words, no? Pag babasahin ko yung mga gawa ng iba, assignment, gumagamit sila ng mga words na galing sa Chat GPT. I-ano mo naman, i-edit mo naman. So that's why digital authenticity is not raw but managed. People often balance truth with image goals to appear real no? Yung totoo pa rin, yet appealing. And the highlight reel effect. Yan, uso ngayon yung reel. R-E-E-L. What shared online is often the best, most polished part of one's life. Di ba talaga naman kapag when we take pictures and create reels, we choose photos. Tama? Yung pinaka most part or most polished part ng ating buhay. Di ba? That's why we use yung mga skewed perceptions, no? Yung mga skewed perceptions that we contribute. Kumbaga yung kung gumagamit ka ng colors, no, skewed mo to create na maganda yung kalalabasan. And then social comparisons. So may mga templates na pwede nating gamitin ngayon, no? It could be sa TikTok, sa CapCut, na napakadali na lang gamitin, na hindi mo na kailangan maghirap when you share yourself using Reel online. So Belk's concept of the extended digital self. So when devices and data become identity, or when devices and data become identity. So we have what they call the extended digital self. Narinig nyo na ba yung extended family? Meron extended family, pero extended digital self. Extended self theory, base kay Belk. Now, Belk's theory suggests that possessions, now including merong tinatawag na digital assets. What are those? Yung Facebook account mo is part of digital assets. So ito yung extended self. Kung marami kang account sa Facebook, so marami kang digital assets. So these digital assets are extensions of identity, shaping how individuals define themselves sa mga social media platforms. And then, dematerialization of identity. Like physical items like letters, photos, diaries have become digital files. Kasi noon, no, kapag susulat ka sa nililigawan mo, for example, susulat ka ng letter. And then, kapag hingi ka ng picture, papapirma mo sa kanya na talagang binigay niya sa ito at may dates. So, yun yung mga bata kami noon, no? Pero ngayon, hindi na ngayon gano'n, no? Yung mga physical. Kundi, hindi na nga uso yung photo album, no? Yung binubuksan. Siyempre, yung mga iba meron pa. Pero, ang photo album na natin ngayon, yung Facebook. But the problem, kapag na-hack, wala na. No, wala na yung mga memories in the past. Kaya kailangan pala ay meron kang cloud, no? Yung cloud, ibig sabihin yung digital storage para ma-save, or pwede ring physical, no? Yung external hard drive. So pero kapag pinost mo yung letters, photos, your diaries, nagiging tinatawag na digital files, na kaya nga tinawag natin siyang dematerialization. Naging digital siya. O we call it the soft, di ba? Soft copy. Altering how memory and self are stored and experienced. Nakakalungkot lang na, for example, ako, nahack yung Facebook account ko. Nag-start pa yun since 2009 pa ata. Or 8. Nawala yung mga memories, no? Yun lang. Hindi mo na may babalik. Kaya I created another account. So, isang taon na nung September. And then we have what they call the re-embodied true avatars. Di ba sa Facebook, recently nag-create sila ng mga avatars. Pero kamukha mo pa rin yung avatars, no? Meron siyang identity na nagsasabi, oo nga, no? Ikaw nga yun. So, users recreate or enhance their appearance online via avatars, usernames, filters, and digital styling to reflect desired personas. And then, sharing and identity expression. The act of sharing, like posts, stories, playlists, is a new form of digital expressions. So, when you share, when you post, so, meron kang sinasabi sa tao that you are expressing. It could be your emotion. It could be your life, no? So, yan, yung form of digital self-expression that extends personal identity to the public sphere. Na dati yung mga stalker yung susunod lang, no? Susunod ka saan pupunta. Ngayon may mga stalker na rin sa Facebook, no? Buti na lang merong lock, di ba? Nalalak na ngayon. Kasi pwede na lang may stalk at pwede na lang gamitin yun sa krimen. Kaya nga nung kami, no, nag-post kami. For example, pupunta kami ng Baguio. Oh, going to Baguio now. So yun, yung mga magnanakaw na pinasok yung bahay namin. Buti na lang hindi na nanakaw yung mga gamit sa labas lang, hindi makapasok. Ngayon meron ng tinatawag na lock, di ba? Sa Facebook, you can now lock. At kung sino na yung friends mo, silang lang makakita. Ang problema, kung yung magnanakaw, friend mo. Yun lang, no? That's why, huwag kayong masyadong mag-accept. Hindi nyo kilala. And then we have what they call the devices as identity containers. So ito, yung ating mga devices, tinatawag itong identity containers. Bakit? Kasi lahat ng ating identity nandyan. Nandyan yung mga photos, your address, minsan yung ATM password, no, nakalagay, naka-stored, no? So kaya tinatawag siyang identity containers. Yung profiles natin, yung cloud accounts natin, no, ay tinatawag siyang identity containers. Or we call it the functioning containers as external memory and personality extensions. And then digital memory and distributed identity. Your phone as an external brain. The question is, kaya ko bang mag-aral without cellphone? Kaya ba? Kaya naman, pero hindi kumpleto, di ba? Kasi nandun yung mga notes mo eh. So, tinatawag siyang external brain. So, for example, yung memory, no, yung mga photos mo, notes, nakalagay dyan, no, nakalagay sa cellphone mo, nung pinicture mo yung notes, kunwari, nagpipicture ka sa notes, pero iba pala yung pinipicturean mo, no, yung crush mo. So, nandun yung notes mo and reminders nandun din. So, and then yung lahat ng mga ginawa mo, sinesave mo. Dati sa laptop, pero ngayon you can now use your phone. No, kaya nga ang cellphone natin ay tinatawag na extended of the cognitive self or external brain. And then we have what they call the from diaries to data or data. Traditional memory tools like yung journals, di ba? Albums, photo albums had been replaced by apps and cloud storage, transforming now how memories are accessed. Dati kung gusto mong pakita yung old picture mo, ito nung bata kami. Wait lang, hanapin ko lang yung photo album namin. Tapos makikita mo, nandun sa taas ng cabinet. So, daming alikabok. Pero ngayon, you can use now your phone to access yung mga memories, no? And then we have the called the phone as mind extension. Devices hold emotional, social, and intellectual records. Lalo na sinabayan pa ng mga AI. Di ba? So, yung phone natin talaga ay mind extension, acting as prosthetics for remembering and identity tracking. Ako, for example, nakalimutan ko yung ID ko, no? Na yung ID number. So, nalala ko, napicturean ko pala. So, tatype ko lang dun sa aking album na, for example, SSS. Lalabas na dun. Ito yung aking number. So, napakadali ngayon. And then, our phone is also loss of memory control. Data stored in external systems may be vulnerable to breaches, di ba? Or misuse. So, for example, kapag na-hack yung account mo, yung mga storage na nakalagay doon, na connected doon sa account mo, pwede nilang makuha. Pwedeng mawala. Kaya loss of memory control. Na vulnerable yung ating mga data or mga digital assets to breaches or misuse, raising ethical and psychological concerns. So nakakalungkot lang na may mga ibang mga hackers that they will use your photos. O minsan, 'di ba, yung mga nangyari, meron pa lang mga yung kay Hayden ko, no? Pinagawa niya yung laptop niya sa Green Hills. Meron pa lang mga ano doon, mga anong tawag doon, recorded videos, no? Na mga scandal. So yun, kumalat. Kaya huwag kayo mag-store ng mga nude pictures sa storage nyo or sa clouds or sa cellphones. Kapag pinaayos nyo yun, ma-access yun. And then we have what they call the impacts on self-perception. The ease of digital recall changes how people understand time, relationships, and personal growth. Unconscious self-revelation online. Meron pala tayong unconscious self that we reveal it online. The data you reveal without knowing. Digital trails from routine use, liking, commenting, and searching online creates a personal data trail. Kapag, for example, wanted ka, example lang pero hindi ko sinabing wanted ka talaga, no? So, iba yung pangalan mo online. Pero, i-check nila yung friends mo. Uy, may nag-like ito. So, big sabihin, ito yung hinahanap natin. So, meron siyang tinatawag na trail or footprints or prints na pwede kang ma-trail. Na, for example, ako may hinahanap na tao. Kaibigan niya ito. So, hanapin ko dun sa likes. Sigurado magla-likes to. Mahanap ko. Ito pala siya. So, meron siyang tinatawag na personal data trail that platforms analyze and interpret. Quizzes and data extraction. So, fun online quizzes often ask for access to photos, di ba? For example, no, yung mga online ngayon na ginagamit ng mga teachers. So, gagamit ng mga photos nyo para sa profile or even email. Di ba? Kapag mag-re-register ka, kailangan photo o profile, address, or email. So, yun ay nakakapag-harvest ng maraming information na pwedeng ibenta yan sa black market. Kaya mapapansin mo yung mga email mo, email account, ang daming mga nagchat-chat or nag-i-email. Kasi, ibig sabihin, nabenta na yung information mo at may mga nag-o-offer na, for example, pabango, ganito, or trabaho. So, yun, nabebenta kasi yan sa black market. And then we have what they call the behavioral insights from engagement. So, time spent on content, viewing patterns, and interaction frequency are all tracked to infer personality and preferences. So lalo na kapag sa Facebook, no? Gumagamit siya ng tinatawag na patterns, yung algorithm, 'di ba? Kapag nagse-search ng pangalan, mapapasama yung name mo doon. Either kapangalan mo or pareho kayo ng tinatawag na digital personality. And then another we have what they call the accidental oversharing. Users may unintentionally disclose private information through casual posts, public stories, or emotional sharings. So minsan when we share, for example, kaming mga teachers, mag-share kami ng mga link or Google, 'di ba? Minsan dahil sa sobrang dami, hindi na namin mailagay na ito lang dapat ang mga taong maka-access nito. I-share na namin. Anyone with this link can access, 'di ba? Doon sa option na 'yon. And then we have what they call the risk of revealed identity. Unintended disclosures can lead to privacy breaches, manipulation, and exposures to cyber threats. Lalo na ngayon kapag magbigay ka ng full information sa Facebook, 'di ba? Pwede yung magamit, yung mga we call it the sensitive information sa mga cyber threats or manipulation. And then we have what we call the digital power and identity management. Strategic online behavior and influence. Social capital in cyberspace. Likes, shares, and followers are new currency used to gain attention. Pinagkakakitaan din yan ng ating mga content creator, di ba? Hindi lang yan hundreds, millions minsan ang kitaan. Di ba? So, kaya nga, yung online ay pwedeng pagkitaan. And then we have the selective vulnerability. Online figures often disclose minor struggles to appear relatable. Yun lang, no? Kapag may mga bagay na or problema, madali. Kasi iba, no? When you post it online, yung nararamdaman mo. Sa counseling, we call it catharsis, no? Kasi minsan kapag when you share your emotions to others, they will judge you. Sasabihin, ano ba yan? Napaka-liit lang ng problema mo. Kaya nangyayari, dinidisclose mo online. At may mga tao na talagang nakaka-relate kapag naka-heart ka o na may nag-heart or nag-comment, I feel you, same here. So talagang masarap sa pakiramdam, hindi lang pala ako. Tama? So another we have what we call the algorithmic visibility, yung algorithm. Influencers master timing, trends, and platform algorithms to maintain relevance and control how their identity is perceived. So madali lang naman sabayan yan kapag trending. Gawa ka ng mga same content with so that kaya mong masabayan yung algorithm na yan. Kung ikaw ay content creator, syempre kikita ka. And then we have what they call the strategic authenticity. Emotional openness is sometimes used tactically to elicit sympathy or connection. Tama? Na kapag kasi na-share mo yan online, nakakakuha ka ng sympathy. Pero, meron ding mga bashers. Hindi puro sympathy. Di ba? Kaya nga sabi ni yung doktor na umabol ng Vice President, William Ong, na nung may cancer siya, di ba? Na-worsen yung cancer niya dahil daming bashers, no? Doon sa kanyang video. Yun lang talaga, maapektuhan ka. Di ba si Eman Atienza, bashers yung nag-trigger para mag-suicide siya. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, we must be careful. And then, we have what they call the digital reputation as power. A well-crafted digital persona can amplify influence. Lalo na kung maganda talaga yung mga likes, hearts, na mamotivate yung mga tao, di ba? Can amplify influence. Nakakatulong ka, no? Wag yung marites. Yung marites, wag yung ganun yung post nyo. Yung post nyo, yung mga bagay na kung saan matututo yung mga tao. Kasi magkakaroon ng tinatawag na impact, no, sa publiko. At of course, kapag merong mga well-crafted digital persona, more followers will come. Later on, who knows, baka pagkakitaan mo na yung social media platform mo sa pag-create ng mga contents. So, ideal versus real digital self. Curated perfection and authentic struggles. So, ideal self online. Social media enables users to present their best selves. Dati, wala namang filter ang Facebook. Puro raw yung, kaya pag nalagay mo na wala na. Wala ngang edit nun eh. So, pero ngayon, no, kompleto na, no? Pwede mo nang i-edit. So, yun yung maganda, no? Kapag na-edit mo. So, that's why, ang mga social media, they want their users to present their best selves. Kasi pinagkakakitaan din naman nila yan eh. No, like yung filtered, successful, confident, and aesthetic. And then, kung meron tayong ideal self online, yung gusto nating best selves natin sa online. Pero, hindi siguro makaka-achieve ng best self sa online, no? Kasi dumarating sa point na kapag may mga bashers, nasisira yung best selves mo online. Di ba? And then we have the hidden real self, yung offline natin. Individuals may face struggles, insecurities, and imperfections not visible in their curated online personas. For example, nag-post ka no ng masaya ka, pero malungkot ka naman. 'Di ba? Hidden self. Hindi ka naman 'yon. So yung ideal self mo online, sana maging masaya ako. Pero sa hidden real self, hindi naman pala. And then we have what they call the emotional cost of image maintenance. Maintaining an idealized digital self can lead to anxiety. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, you cannot always uh, you cannot always please everybody. There will be a time that there will be bashers. Kaya if you are trying to maintain an idealized digital self, this can lead to anxiety, identity conflict, and emotional exhaustion. Dapat you must be also prepared. Kapag nag-post ka ng something that will trigger sa galit ng tao, then you must be also prepared sa mga bashers at sa galit ng tao. Diba? Kaya dapat, ako minsan talaga gusto ko nang mag-post pero wag na. Kasi baka yung mga bashers, no? Yun yung nakaka-cause of anxiety talaga. And then, identity gaps and pressure. The bigger the gap between the real, di ba? Yung totoo. Kasi yung digital self, filtered na yan eh. Kaya nga sabi ko nga eh, yung mga social media, they want us to present our best selves online. That's why they create filter, edit, or editing tools. So the bigger the gap between real and digital self, the more psychological tension individuals may experience. No, kung masyadong perfect yung digital self mo, but in hidden real self, ang layo, then it can be create a psychological tension that you will experience in the future. And then we have what we call the recognizing authenticity. Now, awareness of this duality promotes empathy. Diba? Kapag syempre, when you post it online, diba, meron kang hidden self, meron kang real self online or ideal self online. So, kapag ayaw mo lang na ayaw mo naman talaga mag-comment pero sabihin mo, I feel for you. Pero you don't mean it. Wala naman sa iyo yun eh. Di ba? Sometimes nag-heart tayo pero hindi naman talaga natin gusto yun eh. Dahil siguro boss mo yung or teacher mo yun. Minsan OA kahit na hindi mo naman gusto i-heart mo. Di ba? So, hindi naman talaga siya authentic. Pero dahil teacher mo siya, nagkakaroon ka ng dual identity na okay din yun. Kasi hindi naman alam ng teacher mo na, gusto pala nila itong aking video. Pero sarcastic pala no? Sarcastic, parang itigil mo na yan, sir. Parang ganon, no? Di ba? May mga sarcastic. For example, kumanta. Tapos sasabihin mo, more, more. Pero yung more pala yun ay kinukutsa mo siya na hindi na magandang boses nyo. More practice pala yun. The mass effect in digital spaces. Anonymity, safety, disinhibition. Anonymity as a mass. Online, users can hide. No? Tayo naman, we can use yung tool sa Facebook na palitan natin yung pangalan natin. We can use avatars, filters, creating distance between our real identity. At mag-represent tayo ng digital persona na malayo. Diba? Lalo na yung mga troll na mga politicians. No, imagine, no? Nag-comment ng Tagalog. No, nag-comment ng Tagalog about sa corruption na tayo. Pero NBA basketball player si LeBron James. Hindi naman nagtatagalog si LeBron James. Troll yun, ibig sabihin. So, empowered self-expression. For some, this mass reduces fear, enabling emotional expression, support seeking, and confident interaction. Siyempre, kapag anonymous, may confidence. Pero there will be a time na malalaman din. Pero siguro, sa panahon ngayon, mahirap, no? Kung dami ng accounts. So, kaya kung magko-comment ka na troll yung account po, okay lang, bumatikos. Yung mga bumabatikos na matatapang, it could be for example, sa recently, vice mayor, naging mayor, naging nawala, pero kinabukasan, balik ulit. Ang daming mga doon, no? Di ba? Na mga nagko-comment. Mga yun, mga malalakas ang loob, mga trolls. Kasi anonymous eh. Hindi naman sila yun. And then, we have what we call the disinhibition risk. Anonymity can also enable harmful behavior, such as yung trolling, bullying, or dishonest conduct due to reduce accountability. Kasi kapag yung gamit mo is anonymity or troll, so it can easily bully, it can easily scam. Mga scammers, they use troll account or fake accounts. Gagamit sila ng account ng iba. And then psychological duality. The digital mask o yung pag anonymity in social platforms creates a psychological divide between the self one feels and the self one performs. So meron kang dual self, no? Pero yung digital self mo, hindi naman siya talagang best version. Itong ah, isang digital self mo, hindi siya best version, kundi isa siyang troll na naninira ng tao. Imagine, no, kung sa reality mabait ka pala, pero meron kang troll account na masama. So, di ba yun? Baka talagang nagbabait-baitan ka, totoo. Baka talagang masama ka naman talaga. No, kasi ang isang mabait, hindi naman niya gagawin yun. And then we have what they call the responsible use of anonymity. So, create yung anonymity, syempre para hindi ma-disclose yung identity ng tao. Pero na-abuse kasi siya. Understanding the power of anonymity helps individuals use it for growth, not to harm. Ginawa yon for growth. Halimbawa, yung mahiyain, gusto nila express yung kanilang sarili, they will use mask or yung anonymity or account na kung saan na-express nila. Pero ang iba talaga ay ina-abuse nila. And then, the perform self online. So, digital identity as performance. Online behavior often mimics performance art. Di ba? Uso na ngayon yung mga parody. Di ba? Sa Bubble Gang, pinaparody nila yung Senate hearing. And then, recently, yung kay Saldico. So, kung talagang updated kayo, no, sa corruption at revelation ni Saldico, talagang matatawa kayo, no? So, yun yung mga maganda, no? Na nakakatawa, yung iba ay naiinis. Siyempre, iba yung political colors ng naiinis. So, that's why online behavior often mimics performance art. Users adapt roles to engage audiences. And social feedback loop like yung likes, shares, and comments reinforce identity roles. So kapag talagang maraming feedback, di ba dati merong may like, no? May like, ay may... Tapos dati may ganun eh. Parang hindi ko na nakikita yon. So hindi siya kasi nakaka-encourage, no? Pero meron namang galit. So mas okay pa yung galit kesa at least na ida-down. Kasi put down eh. Parang kapag yung ganito ay parang tinatapakan ka, no? And then, we have the validation and self-worth. Frequent engagement with performed identities may link self-esteem to digital feedback, affecting mental health. So, pwede natin sigurong sabihin na kapag nag-post ka about your problems, na maraming mga o tao that they will feel for you or encourage you. So, meron ding mga others that will feedback na worse, no? So, pwedeng maapektuhan. It could be mental health na maayos or mental health na hindi maayos. So, pwede rin yun. And then we have the risk of inauthentic living. So, minsan, akala mo, sa sobrang filter ng ginagawa mo online, nag-iiba na rin yung behavior mo. So, na-adapt mo na yung digital personality mo sa online. Over-reliance on perform identity can distance users from authentic self-expression and personal grounding. Kaya nga huwag kayong mag-post ng, for example, bumili kayo ng bagong sasakyan. Naku po, kapag nag-post ka, maraming mag-chat-chat. Meron ka bang 500 dyan? Ako yung kamag-anak mo na hingi sana ako ng tulong So, gusto nyo ba yon, no? Totoo yon. Kapag nag-post ka, for example, nag-post ka ng bagong trabaho mo, no? Tapos kumakain ka sa restaurant. So, may mga mag-chat-chat na yan. No? Kumusta ka? Yung mga hindi nangungumusta, biglang mangungumusta, no? Buti na lang sa iPhone, merong, di ba, pwede mo makita, i-check mo muna. And then, ay, naku, ano na naman to? No, pwede mong, kunwari, ay, hindi ko pa nabasa. Pwede mo sabihin yun, no? Hindi ko pa nabasa. Sa dami kasi nagme-message eh. So, pwede natin gawin yun. Pero kapag emergency, syempre, huwag nyo naman gagawin yun. Emergency yun. And then, digital footprints and identity traces. Ito yung trail. What is digital footprint? A digital footprint consists of all the data you create or leave behind online. 'Di ba? Yung history, no? Kapag noon uso yung computer shop, 'di ba? Hindi pa naman gaano madaming may mga internet noon. Computer shop talaga, no? There was a time na uso noon yung Farmville. No, that was in 2010 or 2008. Tagal na, no? 2008. No, meron kami mga kasamahan no, sa church. No, nag-usap kami, uy, mag-harvest pala ako. So, pupunta kami sa computer shop. So, merong isang kasamaan ko, hindi niya na-log out yung Facebook niya kasi sa Facebook yung computer shop. So, syempre, kapag natapos na yung time mo, merong another gagamit. Hindi niya na-log out kasi biglang mag-shutdown yun and then papasok yung isa. So, hindi niya na-log out. So, nag-post ba naman yung sumunod na bakla ako, aaminin ko na bakla ako. So, nilagay niya doon, nabasa namin lahat. Kaya pala, ang dami na nag-comment. So, bigla siyang tumakbo sa computer shop na nag-viral siya. Ngayon, pulis na siya. Pero hindi naman siya bakla. Yung account lang kasi hindi niya nalagaw. So, merong digital footprint. And then, active versus passive footprints. Active, what you intentionally post. Yun talaga yung gusto mong i-post. Passive, what platforms collect silently. Like time spent, location, interaction. And then we have what they call the permanent and searchable. Digital traces are stored, searchable, and often permanent, impacting future opportunities and personal security. Kung hindi mo mahanap sa Facebook, i-type mo nga sa Google, lalabas eh. So nakakapag-create tayo ng digital footprints. Ako, kaya nga iniba ko eh. Santos Alan. So kapag sinearch nila, hindi magkikita. Lalo na kung naka-unlock yung Facebook mo. Pero kung content creator ka, kumikita ka sa Facebook, hindi mo i-unlock. Kasi hindi ka na magkikita kung hindi siya nakashare sa public. So, footprints reveal identity. Your habits, your interests, your values, and emotions are often inferred from your online behavior. Tama? Kahit hindi mo i-disclose, no? Yung habits mo, interest, lumalabas talaga siya. Kasi, in a series of postings, in a series of sharing, lalabas talaga na, ito yung interest niya, ito yung values niya, ito yung emotions niya. Kaya pala puro hatred ang inaano niya. Hatred pala talaga siya. And then we have what they call the mindful digital presence. Awareness of your footprint encourages responsible online behavior and protects your personal and social reputation. We must be mindful about creating about accounts. No, dapat yung password natin talaga ay nakalista or ilista mo, of course, kung mahirap siyang tandaan. No? And then, merong anong tawag doon? Yung authenticity. No? Authenticator pala. Authenticator. Oversharing and digital privacy risk. When sharing too much can harm you. What is oversharing? Oversharing refers to posting excessive personal information. Like yung pumasa ka sa board exam, tapos pinicturan mo yung, ano tawag doon? Yung PRCID. Eh, hindi mo tinanggal yung mga complete names or hindi mo yung ID mo na ID number. Naku, pwedeng magamit yon, yung mga informations na yon. So, malamang in the future may maglo-loan. Gagamitin yung ID mo, maglo-loan. Nung nasa DepEd ako, ganun eh. Tataka ka na lang, oh, may salary deduction. May nag-loan pala kasi oversharing of information. Kaya ngayon ay meron ng tinatawag na Data Privacy Act na pwedeng makulong, pwedeng magbayad ng millions of pesos yung gumamit ng personal information mo. That's why we must be careful in oversharing our excessive personal information. And then common oversharing habits. Example, include real-time check-ins, showing your school IDs, family drama posts, na yung mga away nyo magkapatid, yung drama nyo sa family, pinopost nyo, or posting every emotional update. So, oversharing habits yun. Privacy, vulnerabilities. Too much shared data ay lalong na-increase, no, yung tinatawag nating identity theft. No, may kaibigan ako nagamit yung identity ng kanyang anak, ginamit sa pagnanakaw, sa hacking sa bangko. So, syempre, yung mga NBI, na-trace nila, ito. So, yun, kinasuhan siya. So, nagbayad pa yung tatay ng $500,000 dahil para patunayan at kumuha ng lawyer na hindi yung anak niya yun. So, yun yung nakakatakot, no? Yung identity theft. And then, meron din mga online stalking, digital manipulation, and emotional exposure. And then, we have what they call in oversharing the digital consequences. What seems harmless today, akala mo wala pa, no? Like a bent post or joke, can be screenshotted or misused or taken out of the context later. Baka pwedeng gamitin yan sa'yo. Or ma-misuse or pwedeng sasabihin, hindi naman ako yan eh. Hindi, may screenshot. So, yan, pwede yan magamit. So, ibig sabihin, there will be a consequence. Healthy sharing boundaries. So, digital maturity means setting limits. Think before you click. Review privacy settings and avoid emotionally driven uploads. And then, online comparison and self-esteem, the psychological cause of social media protection. The highlight reel effect. Social media shows realized versions of life na naka-polish na, no? Naka-filter na at curated na. Diba? Really reflecting real struggles. Parang maayos ka, pinapakita mo dun sa highlight reel mo na may pera ka. Naku, kapag nakita yan ng mga kakilala mo, uutangan ka. Kaya huwag masyadong galingan, no, yung pag-post. Pagkita mo na hindi ka naman talaga ganon, na hindi ka naman talaga rich. Pero kung rich ka, yung mga rich nga naka-chinelas lang di ba? Pag mamimili, di ba? Pero yung mga they call it social climber, no? Yung feeling rich pero hindi naman rich. Kala mo kung pumorma pero wala naman palang pera, no? Comparison culture. Constant exposure to others, success, appearance, and lifestyle can lead to unrealistic standards and personal dissatisfaction. Kaya nga nauso yung sana all. Ibig sabihin, naiinggit ako sa'yo. O kadalasan nangiinggit, naiinis ka, di ba? Di ba, naiinis ka? Sana all. Pero sinasabi mo, naiinggit ka. So, yun yung ibig sabihin. That's why, kapag in-expose mo yung your success or other success, lifestyle, can lead to unrealistic standards. Hindi naman lahat pare-pareho tayo. Yung success, definition of success may be different from one another. Our definition might be. Yung iba, success to them is uh, kahit walang pera, basta buong pamilya. That is success to them. Yung iba, success to them, madaming pera. Magkakaiba naman tayo. And then, emotional impact. Online comparison, di ba talaga yung sana online comparison is linked to increased anxiety, self-doubt, and envy, and lower self-worth. Na kapag nakita mo, uy, buti pa siya. Uy, buti pa siya, first honor. Uy, buti pa siya, fourth year na siya. Ako, third year pa rin. Or third year pa rin. So, yan yung nakikita natin minsan online. Na nako-compare tuloy natin. Lalo na sa mga teens like you. Teens pa ba kayo? Teens, tama, teens. Teenager. And then behind the post, what you see online is not always the full truth. Tandaan nyo yan, what you see online is not always the full truth. Uy, sasabihin mo, ang saya naman nila. Pero baka hindi naman sila masaya. Influencers use filters, edits, and marketing to crop appealing images. Di ba sa mga advertisement, imagine no, si Piolo Pascual nag-endorse, ano yung sabon na panlaba? Hindi naman siya naglalaba. Di ba? So, hindi totoo yun. Ibig sabihin, buti pa kung yung mga naglalaba. Hindi niya sabihin, mas puti ito, mas puti ito. So, hindi naman pwede niya sabihin, hindi ka naman naglalaba. And then we have what they call the reclaiming self-worth. Awareness helps break the cycle. Following uplifting content, toxic feeds, and remember that digital life is curated. Tandaan natin, yung mga nakikita natin sa post, yun ay mga curated, polished, filtered, na hindi na talaga yun. Or na-modify na, kumbaga. Digital addiction and screen dependency. When devices begin to control our lives. Naku po, nangyayari. And honestly talaga, kahit ako. So what is digital addiction? A condition where individuals feel compelled to use digital devices excessively and often leading to emotional and physical fatigue. Yung tipong kahit nagkaklase, nagse-cellphone ka pa rin. Marami akong nakikita sa inyo. Hindi naman nakikinig, nagse-cellphone lang. So, yun yung mga digital addicted, no? And then we have what they call the signs of dependency. Checking devices constantly, inability to sleep without scrolling, and prioritizing screens over responsibilities or relationships. No, nauna pa yung ML kaysa sa assignment. So, digital addiction. And then, effects on health and focus. Overuse of cell phones impacts sleep, impacts attention span. So, kaya kapag nakikinig ka, nag-aaral ka, you are irritated or naiinip ka, it is because yun na yun. Yun yung effect ng digital addiction. And then, yung eyesight mo lumabo na, yung posture and emotional regulation, especially sa mga kabataan. So, why it's addictive? Bakit nga nakaka-addict? Because ang daming apps, no? Di ba? Ang daming apps. Lalo na ako, ang kina-addict ko naman, Shopee, Lazada, no? Lalo na kapag Yan, December 12. Ayan, December 12. 12-12. So, may mga 50% na naman ng mga sapatos. So, nakaka-addict kasi, no? And then, infinite scroll and algorithmic dopamine triggers, no? Yung algorithmic dopamine. Ito yung nag feeling kapag excessive yung chemical na dopamine na ito sa katawan natin ito, no, na chemical. So yun ay excessive na lumalabas yung dopamine na yun ay talagang feeling mo pagod na pagod ka. And then restoring digital balance. Setting screen curfews. So meron bang 11 to 12 or 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. tapos na ako sa aking cellphone. So may mga ganun ba? So instead of palaging cellphone, you can engage in offline habits or hobbies, and practicing mindful tech use helps break dependency. So meron tayong tinatawag na uh, digital detox. So for example, 2 hours ka munang hindi mag-cellphone. So ibig sabihin, tinuturuan mo yung utak mo na i-regulate na 2 hours hindi, and then later on magiging habit 2 hours. So digital detox. Online predators or predators and grooming. Alam niyo yung grooming? What is online grooming? Online grooming is when someone builds emotional trust with minor online to manipulate or exploit them. Like, bibigyan kita ng ganito, papadalan kita ng ganito, papadalan kita ng anong gusto mo. So, ginugroom na yung bata. And then, kapag nakuha na yung loob, yun na, manipulate na, exploit na, and then sasabihin, magkita tayo sa lugar na ganito, and then biglang mawawala yung teenager na yon, yun na. So, na siya, na biktima na siya ng tinatawag na online grooming. Hindi lang online grooming, meron ding offline grooming, no? Yung mga tao na kung saan bibilihan ka ng cellphone, ganito, ginugroom ka, bata pa lang, no? For example, grade 6, tapos nag-high school, nag-college, yun na. Yan na yung mga sino naman itong mga predators? Itong mga predators na ito. Who are the predators? They can pretend to be your friend at your same age or even caring adult. Kadalasan caring adult. And often use fake accounts and flattering messages. Tactics that they use, itong mga predators na ito. They build emotional bonds. They ask for secrets. They request photos. They suggest private chats. And may eventually ask to meet. So be careful sa mga tactics na ito. Kasi kapag mga ganito, na humingi ng gustong malaman yung sikreto mo, nagre-request ng photo, nagre-request ng private chats, possible online grooming or predator ito. Why is it's dangerous? Bakit mapanganib? Teens often don't realize they are being manipulated until it's too late. Kapag na-manipulate ka na, parang na-brainwash ka na. Diba sa sa Roblox, merong lumalabas, 768 ba yon? Yung mga groomers. No, akala mo, kalaro mo sa Roblox, yun pala, ay ginugroom ka na later on. Magchat-chat na kayo later on. Face to face. So yun. Ano yung tinatarget nila? Tinatarget nila yung mga tao na kung saan merong emotional needs at yung mga vulnerable, like yung magulang nila separated. Ito yung mga tinatarget nila. And how to stay safe. Never share private information. You report suspicious account. Talk to trusted adults and always verify who you're talking to online. So kaya kapag may nag-add sa inyo, hindi nyo kilala o hindi connected, huwag nyo yan. Baka predator na ito. And then, ito, uso yung cancel culture and public shaming. Di ba? What is cancel culture? It's when individuals are publicly called out and socially rejected online for a mistake, comment, or behavior, sometimes going viral. Ay, ganyan pala siya. Ay, wag na natin pagsamahan yan. So, cancel culture. And paano ito nagsimula? How it starts? A conversational post or video is shared, criticized, and rapidly spreads. Soon, thousands join in with harsh comments or boycotts. Naalala nyo ba nung, ano ba yon, yung dinala sa dahig si Duterte, no? Parang may kinoment ata ang Goldilocks ba yun? Against sa Duterte. Cancelled na yung mga tao, hindi na bumili. So, yan yung cancel culture. So, what will be the emotional effects? Yung mga victims, they feel exposed, embarrassed. Di ba nauso ngayon yan? Lalo na nung flood control, no? Yung lumabas yung mga nepo babies na exposed, na embarrassed, and may suffer anxiety, depression. Di ba napasali pa nga si Eman Atienza kasi anak siya ng politician. Yung lolo niya, di ba? Politician, yung tita niya politician. So, natawag siya. So, it could be nag-trigger din to kasama or parte ng trigger. So, victims feel exposed, embarrassed, and may suffer anxiety, depression, or social withdrawal, even if the post was misunderstood. Lalo na yung mistaken identity, yung kapangalan mo. No? Ano ba, may gumawang kalokohan. Kapangalan mo. Tapos kamukha mo pa. Ay, ikaw na yung ano yun, ang tawag yung kukuyugin. Ay, kukuyugin ka. Digital permanence. Screenshots, reposts, and reactions make it hard to erase. One online mistake can follow someone for years. So, pwede namang i-unlike or tanggalin yung like. Pero, what if kung na-screenshot na, di ba? And then be mindful and kind. Before joining a cancel trend, ask, if this fair? Is this kind? Is this true? Empathy and context matter online. So, hindi ibig sabihin na ganun yung nangyari. Yun na yung totoo. And then, we have what they call the digital wellness and healthy online habits. So, building a balanced digital life. So, what is digital wellness? It's the practice of using technology in a way that supports mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So, una, yung pillar 1, awareness. So, you notice your screen time. Ilang hours na ba yan? Kung, nakaka 8 hours na pala ako, nakaka 24 hours na pala akong nagsiselfone, ibig sabihin pala, hindi ka na natulog. So, emotional reactions to content, di ba, not always na lagi kang naka-like, naka-heart, and purpose behind using apps. Bakit mo ba ginagamit ito? Itong app na ito, what is my purpose? And then, pillar 2, you control, and there must be a boundaries. You set rules for tech use, like yung binanggit, screen curfews, i-off mo yung notification, and mindful interaction. Diba sa mga iPhone, merong focus, diba? Merong focus. Do not disturb. Mawawala lahat ng mga notification doon pag clinic mo yun. And then, the pillar 3 is the purposeful use. Use tech for learning, connecting, and creativity, not just escape or not comparison. The pillar 4 is emotional balance. Manage stress and triggers by curating your feed. and ano yung nakalagay yun? Digital detox days. Digital detox days. So, so meron tayong reflection awareness activity. No? I-send ko na lang ito. Ito yung activity nyo. How would you describe your digital self in similar or different form? Your real self. So, ito yung gagawin nyo. What is online habit you are proud of and one you want to change. Okay? So my personal digital wellness plan, the 7-day practical habit tracker. So ito yung supposed to be gagawa kayo nito, no? Ito yung example. No, you create a 7-day practical habit tracker. Pag sinabing 7-day, that is 1 week. For example, no, a daily screen time. So for yung linagay mo, your goal is no phone after 10 p.m. or 3 hours. So yan yung 7-day practical habit tracker mo. And then I will turn off, lagay nyo siguro step 1, step 2, parang ganon. So this will be helpful, no? In creating your personal digital wellness plan. So hindi lang physical, merong digital wellness plan. And then dun sa digital wellness plan, meron tayong tinatawag na digital self-awareness questions. How do your online and real selves compare? What parts are similar or different? So, digital persona versus real identity. Okay, continue. So, navigating online self-representation. So, we have what we call di ba, binanggit yung curated persona. Online selves are edited, highlighting confidence, aesthetics, or aspirations. Curated persona na yan. Ina-highlight natin yung mga magagandang bagay. And then, authentic self, ito yung totoo. Real identity includes ito yung ating mga weaknesses, imperfections, yung ating emotions, and deeper personal truths. And then, yung identity gap, malapit ba o malayo? A growing divide between digital presentation and actual self can cause stress. Sa theory ng isang psychologist na si Carl Rogers, no, meron siyang tinatawag na ideal self and then merong tinatawag na real self. Ideal, for example, dapat mabait ka, dapat helpful ka, pero yung real self mo ay hindi pinapakita yung ideal self. Ang tawag ni Carl Rogers ay incongruence. Incongruence. Pero kapag yung ideal self mo and real self, nagtutugma, ang tawag doon congruence. So kapag congruence, of course, ay okay, no? Pero kapag incongruence, yung identity gap, ang sabi dito, can cause stress. And self-awareness, recognizing this gap, helps students maintain balance and digital wellness. Kaya humanize mo naman. Huwag naman yung sobrang bait mo naman sa online. No? Parang perfect ka na sa online. Pero in reality, hindi naman. So, i-balance mo. Then, authentic self versus perform self. Understanding the roles we play online. So, what is perform identity? So, online personas are often crafted for engagement. Like yung pagiging joker natin, funny, aesthetic, confident, or mysterious. Yung perform identity. And then we have the authentic identity. The real self includes our flaws, vulnerability, and truths not shown online. And then validation loop. So kapag makita natin yung mga social feedbacks, likes, shares can make performance addictive. Di ba? Uy, nagustuhan nila yung video. So gagawa ka naman another perform self. And then digital self-awareness, recognizing performance versus authenticity prevents identity confusion. So digital footprint and identity traces you live online. So what is digital footprint? Every action online na pinost mo, na sinearch mo, nakakapag-create yun ng permanent digital trace. And two types, merong active versus passive. Active is what you choose to post. Passive is collected silently through your behavior. And then we have what they call the digital tattoo. Everything you do online can be recorded or permanent, shared or retrieved even if deleted. Online reputation, your footprint shapes others see. Yourself affects your real world opportunities. Okay, there are types of digital footprint. Understanding active and passive online traces. Active footprint, ito yung deliberate actions online like posting, commenting, or uploading content. Active footprint. And then yung passive footprint naman, yung data collected silently like yung browsing, location, or ad interaction. Passive footprint yun. So bakit importante ito? They both types shape our digital identity and affect how algorithms and others perceive you. So magaling si Facebook, no, kapag nagbrowse ka, for example, ngayon nag-uusap tayo sa online about iPhone. So mamaya meron ng mga promotion ng iPhone diyan. O kaya nag-browse ka about iPhone. Sunod-sunod na yan. Algorithm ang tawag doon. So, the sum of your online presence, digital identity. So, digital identity identified when your digital identity is made up of everything connected to your online, like your profiles, your behaviors, your interests, your interactions with others. Paano ito na-form yung digital identity? It built from your usernames, your bios, your posts, your likes, your shared content, groups, and online behavior patterns. Bakit importante? It influences how others see you and how you see yourself, impacting reputation, opportunities, and relationships. So, sa ating digital identity, pwede naman nating baguhin yan, no? For example, kung hatred puro ang pinopost mo, later on pwedeng happiness na pwede, depende sa iyong growth, no? Kapag nag-growth ka, no, na-heal ka o na-heal yung mga sabihin na natin hinanakit mo, pwedeng magbago yan. Yung digital, yun lang, may mga taong na screenshots, no? Ang tawag doon digital tattoo. And then what you post matters. There will be a reputation and consequences. So digital footprints in public, online actions, post, comment, shares can be viewed by schools. Di ba sa TCC merong gumamit ng logo ba yon? No? I do not know. Nabasa ko lang pero hindi ko na alam kung ano yun. And then lasting effects. Deleted posts may be screenshotted or archived, affecting future opportunities and relationships. Build a positive image. Responsible posting reflects maturity, awareness, and build trust with your digital audience. Hindi natin alam, no? Baka may mga followers tayo abroad. If you are a Christian, may mga followers ka, pastor, di ba? Missionary, teachers. So, digital citizenship, respectful and safe online behavior. So, ano itong digital citizenship? Respectful. Of course, you respect for others. Communicate kindly online. Avoid harmful comments. Pero minsan nakakainis talaga, no? Yung like imagine, ninakaw trillions of pesos. Pero not harmful. Pwede ka naman sigurong exercise your freedom of speech. Pero hindi yung to the point na below the belt, di ba? Alam niyo naman siguro yung below the belt. Yung magmumura ka na, di ba? Pero kapag mga ano lang, yung mga in a form of, ako, kapag mag-comment ako in a form of, ano, parang joke, no? Parang joke. Pero may meaning yun, kahit pa joke. And then protective or protect privacy, safeguard your own and others' personal data. No? Kapag nag-share sila ng information sa inyo, do not share sa others. No? Huwag mong i-share. Avoid oversharing or exposing sensitive information. Ano yung sensitive information? Ito yung mga uh, school kung saan ka nag-aaral, pangalan mo, address mo, cellphone number, ano yung favorite mo. Those are the sensitive information. And think before you post. Think before you click. Use critical thinking. Ask if your content is true, kind, necessary, and respectful before sharing. And last, risks and dangers in the digital world. So yung risk is cyberbullying, persistent online harassment that can harm mental health and self-esteem. Oversharing, revealing too much information or personal information can lead to exploitation. And later on, pag siyan mo, di ba? For example, pinost mo yung ID mo. Naku, pwede magamit yun, yung identity theft. Personal data can be stolen and misused for fraud or manipulation. Okay, class, thank you so much. And sa ating week number 12 dito, no? 12 and 13, no? Gagawin ko pa lang yung video. Thank you and God bless you all.